Time for the panel. Some of you I'm sure will be waiting for strategies for transforming traditional food systems. This conference is very much about innovations, disruptive innovations, so definitely transforming anything traditional about the food tech and agri-industry is of interest. Here to talk about it, we have Philipp Rittershaus, Head of Corporate Innovation and Startup Coaching at RootCamp GmbH. Hello, sir. Now you're in the luxury position of choosing the right comfortable seat, right? We have Bosco Emparanza, CEO at MOA Foodtech, joining us, and we also have Patricia, Larráyoz, Innovation Hub Manager at Eatex Food Innovation Hub, and the panel discussion will be moderated by Jelena, Erker, Associate Director at EBRD. Hearty welcome to all of you. Applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. Now, do you feel you're comfortable enough? Wonderful, enjoy.
Thank you so much. So my name is Jelena Erker. I'm an investment professional at EBRD. EBRD is one of the largest investors in EBRD region. We invest approximately 1 billion in form of debt and equity directly each year. While you already got a bit of a short intro, I would actually ask you all if you can maybe tell us a bit more about each of your institutions. And I'll start with Philipp, please.
Yeah, many thanks, Jelena. So my name is Philipp Rittershaus, coming from Germany, northern Germany, town of Hanover. And RootCamp is an innovation hub and that we built for the last 4 years. What do we do? So we started with actually private money, companies, corporates giving us money to educate startups and to help them find the right innovation. Now we are actually a bit broader, so we're looking from the macro perspective. We look at ecosystems, trying to find out how ecosystem can actually develop within the limited borders. We are looking at value chains. We are looking then at the right spot where actually the cooperation between corporates and startups can take place and catalyze actually the cooperation to have it economically viable for both sides. And in the end, the overall thing is that we fostered there with this the transformation from the fossil world towards the biogenic driven feedstock world or the circular processes.
Thank you so much. Patricia, could you maybe give us a bit more an overview of what does your innovation hub do?
Okay, of course. So good afternoon, everybody. So yeah, my name is Patricia Larráyoz, and I'm the Innovation Manager at Eatex Food Innovation Hub that belongs to the National Center of Technology and Food Safety. It's located in the north of Spain. So the purpose of our Eatex Food Innovation Hub is the technology transfer. It's where we put all our energy. And for that, we put in place several programs of projects where we start from a challenge coming from a company, for a food company. Doesn't matter the size, doesn't matter the location, and we inject the knowledge, we inject technology coming from R&D centers that are located in the region. So this is our main purpose, the transferring of the technology. We want to have technology not in the shelf of the university or wherever, but we want to see technology in the shelf of the supermarket, in the plates of the food we're eating. So that's our purpose.
Thank you. Bosco, you're managing a startup, so you're approaching this from a completely different angle. So can you tell us how is your startup addressing an issue of transformation from linear to circular?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for the intro. And yeah, I'm Bosco. I'm the CEO of MOA Foodtech. We are a Spanish-based company. We are based in the region. We are actually, our company, our labs are based in the north of Spain in Pamplona, although I'm based in Madrid. And what we have developed is a B2B sustainable ingredient platform where we combine biotechnology and artificial intelligence. I will explain a little bit more about artificial intelligence because some topics have been around this morning. We use this platform with biotechnology and artificial intelligence to transform waste and byproducts from the agri-food industry into high-value ingredients or products that we introduce again in the industry and in the society. And thanks to this, we are able to use many different byproducts or side streams from the industry, and we are developing some interesting ingredients that we are launching to the market after the summer.
Thank you so much. Philipp, you mentioned value chains. How do you actually what does the process look like in terms of idea generation, and how do you match actually startups with actual corporate challenges?
Yeah, so if you look at transformation, which I meant as well, so that's actually a huge, huge task. Everybody's part of it, but nobody knows exactly what he needs to contribute. So it's just massive, and so what we try to do is we try to give orientation and prioritization to actually enable everyone that's part of the economy, part of the value chain, to actually play his role. And for that, the challenge needs to be actually specified. That's the same with all the industry, also with startups. You need to specify, and then you can actually put a value against it, and then you can prioritize. And so this is what we do with value chains. We look at suitable value chains that are of high dynamic, that are of high demand, whereas actually nobody caring for it. So there's not yet a platform, not yet a connection, but this is a value chain that is actually contributing to the overall goal of feeding the 10 billion people in 2050. So turning the world into a sustainable one. And with this single value chain, like pea protein value chain, everybody knows that he's using pea protein, that is part of the value chain, or the next one will be hemp, for example, industrial hemp. And then we are actually looking, how is it looking like today, and how is the development in a couple of years? So we're mapping it, and then we see once everyone, so every stakeholder that's part of this process is actually showing where he wants to develop, then we see where the innovation gaps are actually coming up, and then we have the point where the demand is, where we need to take care of, and then we can look for the startups, for the right startups, and we know actually which corporates, which players of the value chain are actually in demand of it, and can then communicate that there will be a good fit. And so this is then putting the spotlight on the point where innovation is needed most, and therefore we try to direct startups most effectively onto the point where they can then play their role and also get faster into the scaling mode.
Thank you so much. Patricia, your conduit between R&D institutions and corporates, this idea generation, is it a supply or demand-driven process in your case?
It could be both. Sometimes we work with a company or helping to strengthen their innovation pipeline. So we engage into a process to develop ideas and to go in a co-creation together with the company and R&D people to come up with ideas that they're gonna be strengthened, they're gonna feed the pipeline of innovation. Or sometimes we start with a given problem and defined by the company. And there is where we do this activity of the matchmaking, between what is required from the company, from the food company, and what is given, the knowledge that is provided by the R&D centers. And then we connect the two communities. And then is where we're going to end up eventually in a project. Yeah. So.
Thank you so much. We have been talking a lot about corporates. Of course, food companies are most important in this particular exercise because they are the ones who need to adopt all these solutions. Clearly, some of them are doing this successfully, some of them are not. Bosco, can you maybe tell us from your experience about successful partnerships and the role of partnerships for scaling these innovative solutions?
Yes, sure. So for us, partnerships are crucial. So at the beginning, we started developing ingredient solutions with our platform, but since we have been talking about the platform in different conferences, then we had some corporates coming to us, okay, can we partner and develop one solution together? And since, I would say 1 year ago, we started working with big corporates in order to deliver solutions through our platform. And for us, it's crucial because we, the startups, have the responsibility of delivering efficient technologies in terms of cost and sustainability. But then this is going to make a change, and this would work when we take this technology into the next level. We industrialize it, we scale it up. And we have found a really interesting space with working with partners in order to scale it up faster and using their resources. And just to give you an example, one of our partners is Barilla, the pasta company that you all know. And they, as you know, they are one of the biggest carbohydrate producers in Europe and in other markets. We are we are a fermentation company, so we are replacing starch and glucose with their byproducts. Glucose could be around 1,000 euros per ton. Their byproducts could be around 100 euros per ton. And we have seen that using the RAID microbes and using the RAID technology, we can even improve productivity using those kind of byproducts and replacing expensive raw materials like starch or glucose. So for us, these kind of partnerships with corporates, it's crucial to scale it up, to fundraise more money, and to really think bigger.
Thank you so much. So this is definitely a successful example of a successful partnership, but clearly some of the corporates have also challenges that Philipp, you said that you have tools within your ecosystem, how you can help and support them actually overcome these challenges when adopting innovation. Can you maybe tell us a bit more about that?
So first of all, a corporate is day-to-day business. That's what they do really good. And the corporate profession is not talking to startups. So that's a different thing. You need different resources for it. You need maybe a little bit free time, but you also need to learn how the expectations could actually be. So not to fail in day-to-day business, very crucial, because there's huge value connected to that. But you need to fail whenever you work with startups, because it would be luck to have every single try is actually successful. That we cannot count for that. So that is the first thing that also corporate employees need to learn. Yeah, that it is not about having a great rate of success, of successful projects, but actually have a great rate of good decisions. A good decision is a decision that is based on a clear data set that is rational and that you do not question right the next week. And that is also clear to be communicated within different departments. So what we see is that this department started something maybe interesting, this department started again, maybe interesting, and then the third one said, we are working for it for 3 years now. So this is something that is extremely inefficient. So it's way more efficient to very structured work with startups. First of all, you need to figure out what is my challenge. And a challenge might be a trend, or opportunity might be a trend, but you need to specify it, and then you can say, okay, this trend or this opportunity is the one I'd like to focus on, like the startups, and then you can prioritize. And also with the startups, you need to be aware that the startups will always come to visit you or something, but the startups, the resource of the startups is very, very limited. Yeah, and so you need to offer something to have actually good education, and also the startups need to be educated to be then a good supplier, a good customer, a good cooperation partner for these corporates. And this is what we consider innovation infrastructure. So you need to invest into an infrastructure, into process, into learning, to actually be able to interact and be then on a good way. And decision making is one of the hardest things. Yeah? If a department is trying to work, they should, before they do the pilot project, they should actually ask the boss of the boss how the result of the pilot project should look like to go the very next step. And so this is something that could add a lot of efficacy into a process, into an organization, but it also needs some investment.
Yeah,
Thank you.
To add something there is that we collaborate a lot with corporates, and we have been living some strange years because, for example, we had a partner, and then the raw materials with the war start increasing, and then the whole company, even if they were 2,000 people, they were working to solve the problem they had with raw materials and stopping everything that had to be with startups. Or another example is with the energy. If the energy used to increase a lot, and we were working with a meat company, and then they stopped doing everything with the startups because their focus, it's their priorities. So it's true that it's not easy. It's a great opportunity, but it's difficult.
No, absolutely. We have seen that as well. Patricia, kind of a similar question. You're again a repeating conduit between R&D institutions and corporates. Can you maybe tell us a bit more about your recent projects and where do you see also similar challenges and solutions for them?
Yes, I mean, I agree with Philipp. Governance of innovation is really key. Doesn't matter if it's a corporation, is very important because you might lose efficiency and spend a lot of time. But also it's very important for us when we're gonna be in an innovation hub, when we're gonna set up a project with an external company. So for us it's very important how we handle this process, this time, because sometimes we are not working on the key priorities. For a company, could be something that is out of the core, but interesting, so we need to keep the momentum, so that's very important. And a part of all the projects to develop technical solutions and transfer, such as a technical solution, we have another two initiatives. One is about creating a network of facilities to really help into the scale-up process. So right now there are a bunch of colleagues that are setting up such a network, identify who has available facilities to be able to run short runs of a production or trials, because what we have seen, especially working with startups, is that sometimes the blocker, is the barrier, is when we go into the industrialization phase. Sometimes it's very easy to do things at 2 liters, small scale, up scale, but then giving having all the facilities to do a step more is more difficult. So we are identifying, creating a network, identifying who has such facilities, and then trying to speed up this process of testing sometimes, yes, to see, at this level, at this amount is working or is not working, and also going into the industrialization phase. And another important project we are working right now is a Foodtech sandbox, a sandbox of Foodtech. So it's quite unique because, as far as I know, there is no sandbox, a Foodtech sandbox within Europe. So we are working for that. We're working quite closely to the local authorities and also at the Spain level, at country level, because we need a frame to make it happen. So hopefully we will be ready to do first trials in Q3, Q4 latest. But yeah, we're counting on having such an arena sandbox to create this space for trials, a safety space for trials, for doing tests that they are not. There's no legal. The regulatory is not yet there. Let's say. So this is our contribution.
Thank you so much. Clearly, you have all mentioned that corporates tend to deviate from innovation and concentration on these climate challenges whenever there is an actual challenge within their own business. Philipp, we have been discussing before that there are, however, some motivational tools that are not yet in implementation, but that you see as something that will actually motivate them to do this work better. So maybe can you talk to us about it?
Yeah, sure. So in the end, the task of every corporate is to contribute a margin. So that is all clear. And when we look at now at the fairness or how actually the motivation of a company could be increased to actually change. So the purpose is not to change, but there's the world is changing in an incredible speed, and so what we see is actually ideally there would be something like a true cost accounting. So getting a step back, so why is the fossil-based world so incredibly effective and brought us to the industrial state we are right now? Because it is actually just taking a part of the cost that it is actually contributing to the world, only the cost of production and so on, but not the world of the emissions and so on. So when we look at true cost accounting, that would be really considering all costs that are contributed to a certain process, and this is not. We are not there yet. Yeah. So this we should go there, but we are not there yet. So we need to think about what is actually the contribution of certain companies to actually go to this world, to this way, or how is actually even the way of certain ecosystems to figure out that this is not what, or that their chance is actually to go a different way, to go into a sustainable. But in the end, you always need to motivate also your shareholders and so on. And there are different ways to do it. And the best way is actually if you have a value that you can trade in the end. Yeah. So carbon certificates is a new product of farmers. farmers are not aware of it yet, but they're aware of producing products and bringing them to the market, and now they are able to produce with generative farming methods carbon certificates and bring them to the market. And this is then the connection to also the bigger companies that have a zero CO2 pledge like Nestlé, and are spreading that actually over the world just by following actually the way of where carbon is actually produced. And so this is quite a span. So Nestlé is just saying it. It's easy for them because they have not much own emissions. But then all of a sudden, one of our alumni startups that we educated in Costa Rica is saying, hey, now I got a new customer, because the customer is delivering to Nestlé, and now they need to say what do they do with their coffee leftovers, and now we are able to turn it into biochar. So this is actually the world-spanning motivation that is always connected to, unfortunately, not just character and the wish to do it better, but actually to some value connected, something that can be traded.
Thank you. Bosco, what is your view on this particular topic?
I completely agree. This is in the mindset of the companies, of each corporate. And for example, in our case, it depends on it's not our region, like with this kind of mindset. It's more the own company. Like they need to be like with a global mindset. They need to participate in this kind of events. And there's where we find the best matches when it comes to partnerships with corporates.
Thank you. And Patricia, you said that there will be a role of AI when it comes to motivating corporates as well to actually address these challenges. Can you maybe comment on that?
Yes, I think with AI we have a huge opportunity, in the sense that it's a way to extract a lot of that, to organize a lot of data that they are there, but maybe we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do properly with this data to extract conclusion. And also it might be a huge opportunity in favor of the sustainability of the food value chain. I don't know what you think about that, but because now we face a problem with the sustainability of the food value chain, but maybe, who knows, in a few years' time, with the help of AI, we might not see a problem, but opportunity. So it could be that just using AI in different places, because right now is playing a role, especially in the production of raw materials, and in production in many places within the food value chain is playing a huge role. Why not? Maybe what we see today as a problem is not anymore a problem, in the sense that we might end up producing ingredients, producing animal production in a different way that is more clever compared to today. And we are eliminating in this process what is bad today. The CO2, and we are like a production system that is low, with a low footprint. And so I strongly believe that if we are clever enough, we might end up in such a good future. Yes, honestly.
Thank you. Before we go to questions from audience, maybe, and since we are already on AI, can each and every one of you comment on the most exciting technological solutions or startups that you have seen that may enable this transition from linear to circular economy quicker?
Yeah, so first of all, you always need to have data, and you always need to find who's actually contributing together to be actually able to find the data set to feed actually the AI. Like we are looking for an ecosystem in south of Italy with the EU-funded project to actually connect all the dots. That is very important. So that is the potential of AI then in a collaborative environment. One of the good examples is a company called BioVic, for example, not yet really doing a lot of AI, not at least only partially, but they are setting up on the point that microplastic is actually penalized. So yes, regulatory is also the true friend of a startup, not because they like it so much, but it's an enabler to change actually the existing systems. And they offer microbial cellulose and actually are from what they have learned in this environment, they are enabling low-value, plant-based ingredients to functionalize them. So what we try now is to turn commodities, large fertilizer quantities, into a premium product with bio-based contributions to actually make a premium product out of it. So that is a good contribution. In the end, they will be running on the penalized microplastic area of cosmetics, for example, where it's the first starting point. But this is a good trend, and I hope they actually go fast into scaling.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Bosco?
Well, let me talk about MOA.
Of course.
MOA is the company where I'm the CEO, and we have found something really interesting, and it's by combining AI with byproducts. We have found that what I was mentioning before, that maybe we can replace normal raw materials from the fermentation space, like yeast extract, glucose, starch, with byproducts which are more complex but are much cheaper. And we have seen that combining the right technology, I mean our micros library in our case and our AI platform, we are significantly increasing the productivity and significantly decreasing the cost of the fermentation process. And then it comes when you turn a batch fermentation into continuous fermentation, and we have seen that we can reduce up to 10 times the capex when it comes into about bioreactors. So and this is not just for the food tech space. Now we have potential collaborations with companies doing biofertilizers or companies producing yeast for the bakery space, because they really want to go from molasses to other kind of byproducts which are cheaper and more available. So I think fermentation might be a bigger opportunity than what we thought.
Thank you. And Patricia?
I'm thinking about like a startup that is transferring the knowledge, and is dedicated to data management. The knowledge is based on not in the food value chain, but in fossil, in petroleum and so. But they have been able to transfer such a knowledge into the food value chain. So they are able to gather data and predict the system to produce, to adjust the production to what is going to be needed at the end of the food value chain. So that's a good example. It's also connected to something that has been mentioned this morning in another panel, the idea of transferring what is learned and all the knowledge gathered in other applications rather than food into the food value chain. So this is the typical example of this in this case.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for this. Turning to audience, if there's anybody who has any questions.
We have like 3 minutes left. Anyone with a quick question? You're very much encouraged to ask it. Yes? Anyone? No? It looks like, unless you want to... Oh no, it's just body language. So,
okay.
No, closing remarks?
Maybe I can add a company that's actually here. So New Caps,
yes.
They're actually sensational. So that is also something that every startup needs to be aware of, that maybe startup products are a little bit too abstract. So somehow you need to find a way to really add emotions, and they clearly add it. So it was a salt product, so having the same salt taste with lower salt content, and I got the full salt content. That was sensational, definitely.
And I'm happy you mentioned New Caps, because at the beginning, the technology or the solution, it was CNTA, the organization I belong to, was part of this creation. So I'm happy.
So maybe one last question for all of you is, do you see actually transition happening within the next 20, 30 years and or sooner?
It has to happen. Yeah, I think we all have this responsibility to make food value chain sustainable. Sustainable because, I mean, we are, in terms of population, we are becoming more and more people, and everybody has to have the right food, the right nutrition, but at the same time that the food value chain is sustainable. So we have to make it happen. So yes, yeah.
Bosco?
Yeah, and there's an interesting topic that has been spoken last week, for example, in F&A, and also this week, today early in the morning, about having like giga projects, not just small solutions, small circular solutions. I think we are putting together AI, fermentation, many technologies in the same place in order to build, or I would say completely transform the industry. And I believe that, for example, 2050, there would be no byproducts. I'm sure they are going to be products instead of byproducts, or renewable materials for fermentation, or things like that. And the industry shape would be completely different. I think we are going in the right way.
Thank you. Philipp?
So if I would have no hope, I wouldn't be here. But in the end, yes, I have hope. So there are cons, because it's more or less abstract. There are many mega things happening where I have no direct contributor and nobody can point at me that I'm doing things wrong. So that is not helping. But in the end, there's so many things rather on a more collaborative manner happening that I'm very happy. So I mentioned south of Italy. So you have one best practice. You can clearly define what is happening there, and then you have an example, and then you can actually multiply it. So this is happening with your first facility. We will have a second, a third, a fourth facility, and this is the way bioeconomy needs to go. You have one example, you multiply it, and it's not like in the fossil world, like you have a tanker coming in and then have 40,000 people to work on it. So we need to think more collaboratively and more on a broad base.
Thank you so much. So everyone is hopeful, so hopefully we'll get there. With this, please give a big round of applause to our amazing panelists.
And our wonderful moderator, Jelena, too. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.